let's talk about the foundation of technical, professional, and strategic writing with 3 characteristics you need to hit and keep in mind for effective work. Our styles and genres in technical communication and information design differ from writing in other fields like creative or typical essays because of the context and the purpose. One of those really critical differences with TCID and other writing is that most people don't really want to read what we make. Instead, they're reading it because they need to. They need that information to make a decision, take action, do their jobs, and stay safe. We are practicing writing for action-heavy context with audiences whose real purpose in reading is to make a decision. Since we are focused on action-driven purposes with audiences who need the information efficiently, our key characteristics that underline all the work we're going to do in technical comm, info design, professional writing, business writing, strategic writing, are going to be grouped into words like correct, necessary, and usable. We need our documents, whether it is an email, a presentation, or a long-form report, to do a few things. Effective documents will make a good impression, readable, organized, and neat. And being readable, organized, and neat means that our audiences can jump around our documents to find the information they really need in that moment to make a decision and take action. Effective documents will make sense to the reader. To create things that make sense, we need to have a clear purpose, and we need a clear plan for our document to get it to that purpose. The plan helps create a logical order, the layout, and the design. Effective documents minimize distractions. It takes a lot of time and energy to make a perfect document, and sometimes those resources are worth it. And other times, things are going to slip by. I always think about, will the average audience see this as a mistake? Especially if we're talking about things like grammar and mechanics as our language and our expectations change. I also think about if the mistake interferes with the logic, the purpose, and the accuracy of that content. And then after answering those questions, I can decide if this is something I need to fix, especially if creating technical writing and communication in spaces like social media, where editing and re-uploading our work has big impacts on our analytics. I like to view my documents in another medium because it really helps me see the distractions when I can look at it through a new lens, whether it's saving my Word doc as a PDF or actually printing it out. One of the biggest and most impactful differences between technical communication and information design and other forms of writing comes down to one concept: design. Design actually represents the entire visual impact of our document. Design is not just about making a document look pretty. Design, for TCID, is really tied to the way that people interpret visual information. Contrast. Making different items visibly distinct, like a heading looks different than the paragraph text. Alignment, where on the vertical and horizontal plane do our items exist and why, like in a bulleted list when the indenting, moving the horizontal alignment, tells us that the bullet point is a subpoint. Proximity, how close things are to each other and why, like putting the caption right below the image. If the caption is on a different page, it's hard for us to understand that it is describing that image and not something else. Size, how big and small things are in relation to each other. Typically, the bigger item is considered more important or first in the information set. And repetition, using the same things, like headings always look the same, or repeating a symbol to show the reader a new but equal point. These concepts are abstract until we see them in action. So let's take a look at a quick example and break down all the parts. This is the main technical communication and information design website. So, characteristic number 1, effective documents will make a good impression, readable, organized, neat. This website is using contrast, black, white, gold, bold, and shapes to help organize the information. There is a bar across the top for navigation, and the links we hover over has contrast so we can keep track of where we are at. Websites are a great place to get a quick impression, and a lot of them are not super effective at making a good first impression. Characteristic number 2, effective documents will make sense to the reader. This website uses alignment. See how all the boxes and text are in line with each other to help our eyes literally track and make sense of all the content? As well as proximity, size, and repetition. It all helps us track the info. Looking at this fact box, the big, bold stats are right next to what is being described. We know that 22% relates to the field growth in Colorado. And the size of this box on the page shows how important it is, as we know a lot of readers and users of the website are going to be thinking about careers and salary. Characteristic number 3, effective documents minimize distractions. This page has a lot of white space, which doesn't have to actually be white, as we can see in the black and gray areas, but it does signal blank space. We do use white space to give our audience room to process all the information coming at them, and it helps things like contrast and proximity because they need white space to actually function. This page is pretty minimal, but it still looks nice. As with all writing, nothing is ever perfect. We will always be able to find recalibrations, things that need to be adjusted, and replications, things that went really well that we want to do again throughout our life. One thing that stood out to me and was a little distracting is the extra apostrophe formatting here. That is just a style from the web portal carrying over, I'm sure, and it doesn't make a big difference on the purpose or my ability to understand the information, but I did notice it. For more practice with these concepts, try looking at your own program's website or just any website you visit often. How do the authors use contrast, alignment, proximity, size, and repetition to make a good, or not so good, impression on you as the reader? Does this page make sense, or do you feel distracted and scattered? Are you able to find the information that you want, or do you feel overwhelmed? This activity is a great way to get into the mindset of our audience and how we can start critiquing our work as we answer those questions about the documents we create. We need to ask ourselves how the audience will interact with the document for any technical communication and information design project we work on. All right, I appreciate you learning about the foundation of technical communication and information design with me. Thanks, associates. Vibes.